Welcome back to Soundwell Guitar. It's the holiday season, and so today I thought we would do an easy but sophisticated version of the classic carol Silent Night. Silent Night, one of the most beloved Christmas carols of our time, was written by a church organist and an assistant pastor. The story goes that the church, this was a church in a small town in Austria, had a broken organ and there was no chance of fixing it in time for the Christmas Eve Mass. And there were traveling actors in town that they wanted eagerly to do their reenactment of the birth of Christ in the church. But without music, didn't seem like a good idea, so they were going to do it in private homes. Anyhow, the assistant pastor decided to take a poem that he wrote from a couple of years previously and collaborate with the church organist to then write a melody to his words and create the song Silent Night. And this would be a guitar and vocal song. Anyway, it was a success. They were able to use it, I believe, and then they were able to have their Christmas Eve masses as they had planned. And this is how the song was born. Anyway, what we're going to do today is we're not going to sing and play it on the guitar. What I've put together is an arrangement that does the chords and does the melody at the same time. And it's a fairly easy arrangement, but it sounds pretty sophisticated. We're going to be dealing with some pretty basic chords, and some are going to be familiar to you if you've followed my previous lessons. In previous lessons, we've done chords like G, and we've done C. These are a couple of the more primary chords we're going to be using, but we are also going to have to pick this tune with precision in the pick, because we're not going to just be doing a rhythm like that. We're actually going to be doing a picking technique that strums the chord that does the chords and then sings the melody at the same time, which I'm sure you could hear that was the opening part of Silent Night. So let's begin. I'm going to break this down into 5 sections. I've charted it out in somewhat of an unorthodox way, and I'm going to put a close-up of that up in the video. But I did do a chart that incorporates the chord boxes as well as some tablature in between the chord boxes, which would indicate the single notes in between that's creating the melody in between the chords. There are also these funny little symbols here with the 2 dots and the lines. Those are an indication that that section would be repeated. So you can see in the chart that there's section 1 at the top with the 2 boxes. We've got that's going to be played twice. That's why there's the repeats on both ends. And then the 3rd line down, that's going to be our 3rd section. That also is going to be played twice, hence the repeat signs on either end. Anyway, so each line in this chart is going to be a section. We're going to start with section 1, and it's important to think of the lyrics of the song when playing it. Otherwise, it might not be clear. We want to think of the words. The first section, the words to this tune would be Silent Night. And then it repeats with the words Holy Night. Now the way I'm doing that is I'm playing a G chord. Now the G chord that I'm doing though is slightly different, and I'll show you how. The G chord that we did in previous lessons involved the 3rd finger and 2nd finger on the big strings here, 6 and 5. And then we had our 4th finger on the 1st string, 1st fret. What we want to do is just move our 4th finger to the 3rd fret on the 2nd string, giving us that chord. Now again, here's where the precision and strumming becomes very important. I'm going to strum that chord from the big string, 6, all way to the second string, but not plucking the first string. We're going to save that one to play it by itself after this chord's been strummed. See how that worked? I strummed the chord, then I plucked the first string, and then I plucked the second string, all the while holding the chord down. I did not lift the chord. And then as you look in the chart, you can see the chord, and then you can see the tablature for the first string open with that 0, and then the 3 on the second string for that. Now the chord box after it, notice we lift the 4th finger. I'll show that in the close-up. Lift the 4th finger. Don't lift any of the other fingers. We're going to need those. And then we again strum the chord only to the second string, creating the melody. That's the ending of the melody right there. Okay, so that's the end of my tutorial on section 1. I'll just play it once more. Then we repeat it. Okay, second section. We're covering the words all is calm, all is bright. I wish I could sing along with it for you, but I'm really not a good singer and it would just ruin the video. But I hope you can hear those words and the melody at the same time. The all is calm, all is bright. Now, the way that I'm doing that section, I start with what will be a new chord to you. We're not going to get into names and that. It's not really what the lesson's about. But I'll show you anyway how to play this. I'm taking my first finger and I'm laying it across the 5th fret flat. It's a lot like in the previous lesson when we did the F chord. But I brought that little 1-finger bar thing up to the 5th fret. So I just lay it flat across. That's the 5th fret. It's got the dot on it. Or maybe your guitar doesn't have dots. Most do though, but it's the second dot in. And after I put that bar in, I carefully get my 3rd finger on the 2nd string, 7th fret, the next dot over. And I want to be very, very careful to get it on its tip. Because if it touches any of the other string, we won't get the sound we want. So you might have to work at that a little bit. Get the bar nice and straight, pop your wrist out if need be, and get your 3rd finger on the 2nd string, getting the optimum clarity on that chord there. So that starts off the second section here with that chord. We're also going to put D in the bass. Very important that the 4th string's there. Not fretted though, it's left open. Then we're going to hit the top voicing on that chord. And you can see in the tabler it's indicated by the 5 at the top of the little tablature in between. Now we shimmy down the neck to the 2nd fret. And we're now going to do what is known as a D major chord. And the D chord is done by putting your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret, 1st string. Then your 3rd finger, 3rd fret, second string. And then your 1st finger, 2nd fret, 3rd string. Don't forget to put the D in the bass. That is your 4th string open. And then you have your D chord. We'll put those two together. We strum this, hit the single note on the top, and we go down to that chord right there. Our next chord then is the G chord. We've done this one in previous lessons. We hit the upper partial on that, and then move your 4th finger back to the 2nd string like we did in the first part. Okay, let's put those together. Okay, the third section is going to be played twice. You can see it in the chart. It's got the repeat signs on each end of it. And the words to this one, round yon virgin, mother and child, then repeats with the same melody but different words, holy infant, so tender and mild. Remember to think these words as you're trying to phrase it to make it come through really clear. Otherwise, your audience might not know what you're playing. This section starts out with a C chord. This also having been done on previous lessons. Okay, so now what I'm doing with the C chord is when I strum it, I then hit that first string again, keeping the melody going, and then I'm going to add my fourth finger to the third fret, first string. That's where our melody's at. Hear that? Now we got in the tab there in between those chords, the first string, second fret, and then we let go and play it open. Then this next bit we already know it's the same as the very beginning of it. So we put that together and we have All right, now we're on to section 4. This is the part where the words are sleep in heavenly peace. And it sounds like this. I don't know if you can hear the words there. I'll play it one more time. Sleep in heavenly peace. Okay, so what I'm doing there is I'm playing this chord again with the bar at the 5th, third finger on the second string, 7th fret, and then be sure to put the open D in the bass. Then I hit the upper partial of that chord. Now I'm switching to a new chord. We're going all the way up to the 7th fret. And then I'm going to add my second finger to the first string. D is still in the bass. Now we've got to shoot down back to the 5th fret, first string, and then shoot down again to the second position to play our D chord. Now that's probably the hardest part of the whole tune. Now I'm not saying it's super hard, but it's a little more difficult than the rest. Next, we jump to a G chord. This time the G chord does have that first string, 3rd fret note in it. It's like we did on previous lessons. And then we got to jump up to what is yet again another new chord to you. We are now at the 7th fret again. And I'm going to bar it. And I'm going to put my second finger on the second string, 8th fret. Now, this shape actually could be just like your D chord was, like you do down here, and if you did it up here, you'd have that chord. For me, it's a personal preference thing. I like to bar it when it gets this high up on the neck. But just so you know, it is, in fact, the same shape. Okay, so I'll just play that part one more time. Okay, now we're on to the 5th section, the final part of the tune. It's pretty easy. The words are the same as the previous one, sleep in heavenly peace, but the melody changed. So we want to be thinking the same words but different melody, and it goes like this. What I'm doing there is pretty simple. We just start off with a G chord again. This particular G chord has the fourth finger on the first string, just like we've done in previous lessons. Then we're going to do this little single note thing, 3 open on the second string, but I didn't lift the chord. Just allowing the low register of the chord to still ring out underneath it, giving it some dimension. Then we're going to this chord. Now that chord, it's basically like the D chord, but I didn't strum the first string. In fact, I didn't even fret anything on it since I'm not using it. So you can just do a 1-3 fingering there. Now we got 2 single notes again. We're at the first fret, second string, that note, then to the third string, second fret, and then we end with the lower partial of a G chord. Not necessary to fret anything on the top here, just fretting these 2. Now it's very important at this point, has been through the entire tune, that the pick aims carefully and doesn't hit any unwanted strings, because this is how we resolve our tune. See that? That's the resolute note right there. We don't want to do that. That's going to throw off the melody. I don't know if you can hear that, the sleep in heavenly peace. Same lyrics as the previous part. Okay, now let's see what we've got. We'll put the whole thing together and see if it sounds anything remotely like the tune. Learning these tunes may not be for everybody. I like to learn them because I think they're very sophisticated compositions. I've done some on my other YouTube channel, some pretty advanced jazz arrangements. There's like one I did on there of Sleigh Ride that the timing was so exacting that one took a long time to get that video. But the thing about this Silent Night one that I like is it's very forgiving when it comes to the timing. If you can hear those words in your head, you can probably phrase it pretty concisely so that your audience knows what you're doing, and so it makes it a little bit easier. But another reason why a song like this might be important to have in one's repertoire is because if you're a working musician and gigging a lot, or if you plan on being, these are songs that you're going to get requests on. I mean, obviously during the holidays is when you get a request for one like this, but it could definitely really help with your arsenal of tunes that you're playing on gigs. Otherwise, it's just something fun to learn too, just for the satisfaction of playing something that you know and enjoy listening to. And also, it's probably something that your relatives wouldn't mind you busting out on Christmas. Anyway, I hope that this video helped you understand it and that it was presented concisely. Any thing that is not clear or you have any questions, feel free to just leave the questions in the comments and I'll be sure to get back to you on those. But thanks for watching.